Hello, everyone, and welcome to our discussion today. We want to quickly take a look at market segmentation. And by the end of this class, we are hoping that you should be able to examine the importance of market segmentation. You should identify the basis for segmenting consumer and industrial markets. You should also be able to describe the characteristics of effective market segmentation. And then we should be able to evaluate and select market segments. All right, so these will be our focus areas for the discussion. So if we say market segmentation, basically it's the process of dividing a broader market into smaller, more defined groups. Okay, what it means is that if you have a market, or if you have a broad market, or a group of people who are likely to patronize your business, segmentation means that you group these people, or you divide the market into smaller, more defined groups of consumers or businesses who have similar characteristics or needs. Okay, so once we try to divide a broad market into smaller, more defined groups of consumers, then we say we are segmenting the market. What you'll notice is that these smaller defined groups most of the times share similar characteristics, or they share some similar needs. Segmentation is very important because it helps companies to be able to target their marketing efforts more effectively. Okay, so as a marketer, if you're able to segment effectively, then it helps you to target your marketing efforts in a way that produces results. Okay, it won't be as if you are all over the place doing everything, reaching out to everyone, even those who are not interested in what you're doing. Okay, so it's segmentation that helps to target, it helps marketers to target their marketing efforts more effectively. It also helps in developing tailored products and services. So if a market has been properly divided and you have a fair idea of what the need of each of the segments is, then you can develop products that are tailored mainly or purposely for that group or that small division that you have been able to identify. So segmentation helps in developing tailored products and services. It also improves customer satisfaction by addressing their specific needs. Remember that once you divide the groups, what it means is that they are sharing similar characteristics or similar needs. So if you're able to identify that need, then you would be addressing, or you will be satisfying that customer by meeting their specific need. Okay, and then it also maximizes resource allocation and then marketing efficiency. So it's very important that as a marketer, you are able to properly segment the market, all right, properly divide the market in a way that helps you to target products directly to the group that you target. Okay, so there are various bases of segmenting consumer markets. There are a lot of ways that a marketer can segment the consumer market. There's what we call the geographic segmentation, which has to do with the location of the target market, right? So you have the geographic segmentation, you have demographic segmentation. We'll be looking at each of these, try to explain them briefly. All right. So we have the geographic segmentation, the demographic segmentation, you have psychographic segmentation, behavioristic segmentation, you have the volume segmentation. We also have the product space segmentation, and then the benefit segmentation. We'll be taking a close look at each of these types of segmentation, so that as a marketer, if you want to segment your market, you can pick any of these types of segmentation and make use of. Okay, so we have the first one, which is the geographic segmentation. Geographic basically it focuses on the location, right? So one of the ways you can segment your market is to look at how your consumers, okay, how they are scattered, right? Where they are located, how you can group them together based on where they are located. So if you are maybe stationed in a rural area or in an urban area, or your business is such that you are targeting maybe the working class, where are they located? Where can they be found? All right. You can target a region. You can target maybe an area, a district. All right. An assembly. All of these are specific to location. So the geographic segmentation focuses on people living in one area of the country, or have purchasing and consuming habits which differ from those living in other regions. So for example, if we pick people in maybe the northern region, they may not necessarily eat the same kind of food that people in southern Ghana would eat. All right. So that immediately helps you to segment your target market, so that if you are providing a service that is meant for people in the north, it's easier to identify that market group and then focus on their needs and serve them, right? So that is the geographic segmentation. It focuses on the location, all right? The location of your consumer, or the location of your customer. Then we have the demographic segmentation. If we say demography, or if we look at demographic variables, we are looking at variables like the age, the occupation, education, sex, or generally you are looking at the characteristics of your target market, right? So how much they earn, the kind of work they do, all right, whether they are more females or males, whether you have more children than adults, whether you have a lot of aged people in the community, right? Whether people are educated, whether they are illiterate, the kind of work they do, the age range, all of those are demographic variables that can help you to segment your market. So depending on the product or service that you are dealing in, you can segment your market in a way that maybe you are targeting people aged 0 to 12 years, or maybe you are targeting people aged above 65 years, because maybe you are providing care for the aged people in the community, right? So the demographic segmentation helps you as a marketer to focus on the demographic variables. So if you pick age, you may want to consider whether the people you are going to serve are teenagers, whether they are adults, whether they are retired people, right? Whether they are working in an official setting, or they work in the informal sector, right? You may also want to check whether they are males, females. What is the proportion? Do you have more females than males? All right. How will that affect your business? Then you are able to segment. All right. Then you can also look at their income level, whether they are earning above the minimum wage, below the minimum wage. Can they afford your product, or can they afford your service? You also want to look at their family life. All right. Is it a nuclear family? Is it an extended family? How would that affect you? Okay. So based on that, you are able to segment the market. So if you are providing a service for single mothers, for example, you should be able to identify single mothers in your your entire market and segment them in a way that you can provide targeted services for them. Then we have the psychographic segmentation, right? So with the psychographic segmentation, you are basically focusing on the psychological makeup of the individual. All right, you want to focus on how they think, you want to focus on how they perceive life, their personality, what they believe in, their attitude, their lifestyle, the kind of people they interact with. All right. So all of those are what you consider under the psychographic segmentation. So according to Rogers, there are 5 groups of consumer personalities according to the way they adopt new products or according to the way they will accept and use a product. And this can help you in your segmentation. So you have the innovators. These are cosmopolitan people who are eager to try new ideas. There are groups of people who, for example, if they have not used a product before, or if they have not tried a service before and it's new, they are eager to try it. They are eager to make use of the product and see how it will change their lives or see how it will make their lives better. Okay, so those are innovators. And depending on the psychographic segmentation, if you have innovators, what it means is that if you introduce a new product or a new service, they will be eager to try your new product, okay? Then you have early adopters. The early adopters are influential people with whom the average person checks out an innovation, okay? So with the early adopters, what happens is that if you have a new product on the market, people will look up to those early adopters. They will check up from them if those people are using your product or your service. If they are, then it means that they will also make use of your product. So for example, if I have an influential person in the society, maybe the MP in my community, and I want to try a phone or I want to try the use of a laptop, I may want to check and see if those people who are influential according to the way I see them, if they are already using that product, then it's easier to also make use of it. Other than that, then it means I'm not going to try it at all. Okay, then you have the early majority. The early majority tends to deliberate before adopting a new product, right? So they will discuss, the early majority group will discuss with other people, check to see how many other people are using your product. So if you have a lot of people who align with the new product, then they will also make use of the new product. Otherwise, they would not. Okay. Then we have the late majority. The late majority, most of the times, they are cautious and they adopt new ideas after people have used it and have testified that this is a good product. Then they will go ahead and use it. But if they have not heard from people how the use of that product would affect them, then they would not make use of it. Then you have the laggards. The laggards are the past-oriented people. And these people are mostly suspicious of change. All right. They are suspicious of change and innovations. If there's a new technology, this person will be suspicious about it. They'll be thinking about all the things that can go wrong with that new technology and all the things that are likely to happen, most of the times negative, if they make use of that product or the service. These are called the laggards, right? So according to Rogers, these are the 5 groups of consumer personalities based on how they adopt a new product. So based on these personality types, you can segment your market, right? So you can have a segment for innovators, you can have early adopters, early majority, the late majority, and then you can also have laggards, right? Then you can also look at their lifestyle, all right? There are people who are very extravagant. What it means is that if you have a product that is luxurious, they are going to patronize your products, right? And there are those who are also very frugal. So you just cannot go around and just quoting prices anyhow. Okay, so basically that is the psychographic segmentation. Then we have the behavioristic segmentation. All right. In this method, you have the consumers classified into market segments on the basis of their knowledge, all right, attitude and use of actual products or the product attributes. Okay. So some of these attitudes are the purchase occasion. All right. So you can segment or you can differentiate your buyers based on when they use the product or service. Okay, so some people will not make use of a service until it's their birthday. All right, there's no way they are going to maybe the spa or they are going to a hotel unless it's a special anniversary, it's a special day in their lives. Some people will never take some kind of let's say cake, right? Some people will not take a cake until it's their anniversary, maybe it's Christmas or their birthday. So if you want to segment the market based on the behavior of the people, then you may want to look at the purchase occasion. All right. So that's why sometimes when it gets to Christmas, you realize that there are a lot of sales that are made because of the occasion. All right. And because of that occasion, you notice that a lot of purchases are made. Then there's also the group that has to do with the benefits that the consumer is seeking. Okay. So here, the major benefits sought in a product is used as the basis to classify the consumers, right? So if the product offers high quality, or if it has a low price, or if it has a good taste, and that is what appeals to your consumer, then you look at that aspect and then you segment the market. Okay, some people look at the taste, how a product feels, the speed, right? Sometimes people look at the sex appeal. Sometimes, in fact, nowadays, for most of the adverts, you see that in most of them, you have females that are the face of the adverts, and most of them have a sex appeal. Okay, so based on these, you are able to also segment your market based on the benefits that your consumer is seeking. So if your consumer is seeking for good taste, then you're going to focus on all the consumers who are focusing on good taste and then group them together. All your consumers whose focus is maybe a low price, you put them together. All your consumers who are focused on getting a product that is of a high quality, you put them also together. Okay. Then you also have the user status, where potential buyers may be classified as regular users, occasional users, or non-users. Okay, so this is how you can segment based on the user status. So you can segment the market based on the frequency at which your consumer is making use of your product. Is this person a regular user, or they are occasional users, or they are non-users at all? They don't use your product. Then there's the volume segmentation, right? Here, consumers are classified as light consumers, medium consumers, and heavy users of a product. Okay, so with the volume segmentation, you are looking at how many or the quantity that your consumer will purchase from you at a particular time. So if the consumer is such that they are buying in bulk, then you may want to focus on all the consumers or all your customers who purchase in bulk, and then you segment them. Okay, then for those who don't buy so much from you, but they are still your customers, right? You refer to them as the light users of your product. So you can classify them also as one group. right? So the volume segmentation basically focuses on the quantity of products or the number of times that your customer would require you to provide a service or to supply your products. Okay, then you have the product space segmentation. The product space segmentation. Here, buyers are asked to compare existing brands according to that buyer's perceived similarity. So the buyers are asked to compare existing brands according to the similarity of the brands as they in relation to other brands, right? So for example, if we want to pick any of the beverages, for example, let's pick Coca-Cola, right? You would want to compare all existing brands of Coca-Cola and how your consumers feel that they are similar or different, okay? And how this relates to what exactly they want. So that consumer's ideal brand. So based on that analysis, you are able to segment the market. So what happens here is that the analyst infers the latent attributes that consumers are using to perceive the brand. It helps you to be able to identify the various characteristics that the consumer is using or that the consumer is attaching to that particular brand. Okay, so based on your results after this analysis, you are able to classify the buyers into groups, right? And these groups are such that each group has a distinct ideal brand in mind. Okay, remember that they tell you their ideal brand as it relates to the existing brand. And so once this happens, you are able to group the consumers together based on their ideal brand that they have in mind. Okay. And the distinctive characteristics of each group are ascertained. So once you're able to identify these characteristics, it helps you to target your marketing efforts in a way that will help them to meet the ideal situation that they have in their minds, right? Then we have the benefit segmentation. This one depends more on the benefits sought in the product or service rather than on the demographic factors. Okay. And the benefit segmentation has the greatest number of practical implication. Okay. So you may want to check, is it a status seeker? And this group comprises of buyers who are concerned with their status, okay? They are concerned with the prestige of a brand. They want to identify with a known brand, okay? So if it's a laptop they want to buy, they want to identify with a known brand. So if this is the kind of consumer you have, you should be able to put all of them together. So all the status seekers will be together, and then you can give them a product that is tailored to their need. Okay. Then you have the swinger. This group tries to be modern and up to date in all of its activities. So it is the swinger that will go for iPhone, whatever, the moment it is released. Okay. So the swingers, they try to be modern. If technology is upgraded, they want to get the latest technology. They want to get the latest app, right? And once you have consumers like that, it means you should be able to put them together, and then from time to time, you upgrade the product or the service that you are giving to them. Otherwise, they would move along with technology and leave your product behind. Okay. Then we have the conservative. This group prefers popular brands and large, successful companies. They are not likely to move on to the next new thing. They want to stay with the known brand with a trusted brand. And once your product or your service falls in this category, what it means is that the conservative remains loyal and stays with you. So if you're able to segment them, then you target them as and when there is the need. But the conservatives, they would stay with the known technology, not eager to try something new. Okay. Then we have the rational man. This group of people, they look for benefits like the economy, right? They want to check the price. They want to check how durable the product is. Is it of a high value, right? So these people use logic. Is it too expensive? Is it such that it will serve the purpose? Why are you saying 1 year warranty? Why not 3 years warranty? All of these questions come up with the rational man. Okay, so what it means is that if you identify these group of people who want the benefit of your product in the form of durability, or in the form of maybe a low cost, or in the form of a high value product, then you put them together, okay, so that you can meet their expectations. Then you have the inner directed man. This group of people are concerned with the self-concept, right? They want to look at, is it honest? All right. Is your product such that it is not causing any harm, right? Is there transparency? Is there independence? Do you have a sense of humor whilst you are providing the service? Right? So these inner directed men, what happens is that if you're able to identify them, you group them together and then provide the services based on what they want to see. Okay. All right. Then we have the hedonist. And this group is concerned mainly with sensory benefits. If we say the senses, you know them: sight, hearing, you have the taste, you have the feeling and all of that. Okay. So the hedonists, they focus on the sensory benefit of your product. Does it taste nice? Does it feel good? Does it look nice? Right? So that is it for the hedonist. And we have said that the benefit segmentation depends more on the benefits sought in the product or the service rather than on demographic factors. Okay, so here you look out for the benefits that the buyer is seeking. And don't forget that the benefits for one buyer may not be the same as the benefit another buyer is looking out for. Okay, and that's why it's important to understand the status seeker, the swinger, the conservative, the rational man, the inner directed man, and then the hedonist. Okay. So now that we are done, we will look at the basis of segmenting industrial markets. So what we looked at earlier was the basis for segmenting consumer markets. At this point, I want to believe that you can successfully and effectively differentiate between business markets or industrial markets and then consumer markets. If you cannot, please refer to the recordings before this one. I think 2 recordings before this one, and get the clarity well. Okay. So here we also have the geographic segmentation, just like you do for the consumer markets. And like we have already said, this is also based on the location of the business or the location of the industries. Okay, so you have geographic segmentation. Then you have thermographics. Thermographics is also aligned to the demographics. The only difference here is that this time, thermographics is based on the characteristics of the company, like the company size, the type of industry it is in, how long it has been in operation, the kind of people who work there. Okay, so that is the thermographic. If you are looking at the consumer markets, we have it as demographics. Okay, I believe that it is clear. Then you also have the operating characteristics as a basis of segmenting industrial markets. Okay, and this is based on the technology that is being used, or the processes that are being employed, or the operational needs of the company. Remember that organizations don't do the same things. Even if they are in the same industry, their operations may not be the same. So the operating characteristics are based on, for example, the technology that is being used, or the kind of processes that are being employed to produce whichever product or deliver whatever service that is being delivered, right? So based on this, you can segment your industries, or you can segment your business markets. So you can look at the kind of technology a particular business is using, and then based on the similarities, you put them all together, right? Then you also look at the purchasing approach as a basis of segmenting industrial markets. Okay, so you would want to have a look at the purchasing policies of your business buyers. How is their decision-making process like? Just like I said earlier, we have done we have gone through discussions on the consumer markets and business markets. So if you don't understand, my advice is that you go back there and catch up with us, or be on the same page with us. Okay. So you may want to look at their purchasing approach. Do they pay, all right? Or do they pay before they pick the item, or this group of consumers are such that they'll pick the item, and then as and when they're able to sell, they pay you back. Okay, so you may want to check their purchasing approach, and then based on the similarities or differences you identify, you group the market, or you divide the market. Then you also have situational factors, which are based on specific situations, like the order size, okay, or how urgent the consumer wants the item delivered. There are some people who, when they make purchases from you and you stay for like 6 hours without delivering the item, it's like you've really disappointed them big time. Okay, so you should be able to identify all of these people and put them in a group where you'll be able to address all their needs effectively. Okay, so with that said, we now know the basis for segmenting consumer markets and the basis for segmenting industrial markets. Okay, so what are the characteristics of an effective market segmentation? For example, you have used any of the basis, demographic or geographic, you have used any of them to segment your market. How do we know that the segmentation you have done is effective? So to be able to identify an effective market segment, we look at its measurability. All right, you should be able to measure it. You should be able to say the size of the market. May not be exact, but it should be an estimate that is credible. Okay, so the size of the market, the purchasing power, and the profiles, all of these can be quantified. We can put a value to the size of the market, their purchasing power, and then their profile. So the first characteristic is that it has to be measurable. Number two, it has to be accessible. If you have a customer segment, or if you have a market segment, you have a market segment that is not accessible, then there's not even it's not relevant to allow yourself to go through that hassle of segmenting the market. So it means that once you have segmented the market, it has to be accessible. All right, you're a marketer, you should be able to access your target market. Then it should be substantial. You cannot have a market segment that is so small that they make a purchase from you once, and the next time they want to make a purchase is maybe 10 years or 5 years time, right? So the market segment should be substantial. What it means is that it should be large and should be profitable enough to target. So your market segment should be very large in a way that will make your business profitable. An ideal market segment should have a lot of consumers, right? Or if you don't have a lot of consumers, then you should have some business segments, okay, who make purchases in bulk. So yes, they would have the numbers are not as large as the consumer market, but they are purchasing quite a lot from you. It should also be differentiable. What it means is that two segments should not be the same. If two market segments are the same, then you should merge them because they should share similarities. So it's very important that if you have two market segments, each of the market segments can be differentiated from the other, right? So you should ensure that the market segment should be distinct from other segments and respond differently to marketing strategies, right? So for each of your segments, maybe one requires you to improve on your promotion strategies. Another segment will require that you improve on maybe your price strategies. But as much as possible, the market segments should be differentiable and they should respond differently to marketing strategies. And then finally, they should be actionable, right? The company should design strategies that will attract and serve the segment. So creating the market segment is not the end. Creating the market segment requires you to take action. Now you have created the market segment, ensure that you will come up with marketing strategies that will attract consumers or customers to that segment and serve them, right? Okay. So now we know characteristics of an effective market segment. How do we evaluate and select market segments? Okay. The first one is market size and growth. What you do here is to evaluate the potential profitability of each of the segments, right? So if you're a marketing person and you have maybe a number of segments under you, how you evaluate and select the marketing segments is to look into the future and the potential for profitability, okay, for each of the segments. If you have a segment that will not be profitable in the near future, then you may have to consider other strategies. Okay. Then the second one is segment structural attractiveness. Here you consider factors like competition, the ease of entry, and then substitute products. Okay. In other words, we'll say you should consider the Potter's 5 forces model, right? And that helps to be able to get your segment to be attractive. Okay, so you use the model or the framework to check the attractiveness of that market segment. If it is not attractive, what it means is that it's only a matter of time and competitors will take over markets with your business. Okay. And then another way to evaluate or select the market segment is to look at your company objectives and resources, right? So if you have a market segment, of course, you should be able to meet their needs. And so it's important that as a business entity or as an organization, right, your market segment should be such that it aligns with your company objectives and your resources. So if you have segments and you want to evaluate them, you check how aligned they are with your mission or your vision statements. So there are several strategies that can be used. So once you are done with segmentation, as a marketer, you can make use of undifferentiated marketing. You can also use differentiated marketing, concentrated marketing, or micro marketing. If we say undifferentiated marketing, basically what we are saying is that if, let's say, you have 3 segments, all right, you have identified segments that you want to serve. What this means is that you have just one approach. You won't change the approach for any of the target markets. It is the same approach for everybody. So it doesn't matter how unique the characteristics of each segment are. Undifferentiated marketing requires that you target the entire market with one approach. Okay. Then we have differentiated marketing, of course, is the opposite of undifferentiated marketing. So differentiated marketing requires that for each of your customer segments, you create separate offers. Okay, you create separate offers for each of your market segments. So for example, if I have a segment of teenagers and I have a segment of pensioners, okay, then the differentiated marketing requires that I provide a separate offer for the teenagers and then also give a separate offer for the other group. I think I used pensioners, right? So basically that is it. Then you have concentrated marketing. The concentrated marketing picks just one of the market segments and focuses all their strengths and energies on that specific segment, right? Then we have micro marketing. Micro marketing does not even it does not look at the group. Micro marketing tailors products to individual consumers. So rather than putting all the consumers with the same characteristics in one group, micro marketing requires you to tailor the products to individual customers or individual local markets, right? So in a summary, today we've been looking at market segmentation, and we have established that market segmentation is very important because it helps businesses to target specific customer needs effectively. Okay. We also learned that consumer markets can be segmented based on their location, which is the geographic segmentation, based on their characteristics, okay, which talks about the demographic. We have the psychographic, which focuses on how people perceive, okay, and then some behavioral factors. Then we also have the industrial markets, which use thermographics, operating characteristics, and then situational factors to segment the market. Effective segmentation requires measurable, accessible, substantial, differentiable, and actionable criteria. All right, so what this means is that if you have a market segment and you want to check the effectiveness of that market segment, you need to ensure that that market segment can be measured, right? It should be accessible. It can be assessed, whether from, but you should be able to assess it, to reach out to that market segment. It should also be substantial, right? It should be enough. It should be enough that it will keep your business going. Otherwise, if you have a very small segment, you don't have a lot of buyers, it doesn't make the work attractive, right? So effective segmentation requires measurable, accessible, substantial, differentiable. It has to be differentiated from another market segment. You should not have two similar market segments. Once that happens, it means that you are better off merging them. Okay. And then you should also look at actionable criteria, right? So once you come up with a market segment based on their characteristics or based on whatever your considerations were whilst you were doing the segmentation, you should ensure that those needs are met. So you should be able to take action on the segmentation that has been done, right? And then once that is done, you should be able to evaluate your market segments. And this requires that as a marketer, you check and ensure that whatever segment you have chosen or whatever segment that you've been able to come up with should be such that it can be evaluated, right? You can check and know whether this is really it or I have to make changes, okay? So what you're expected to do is to put yourself in the shoes of a marketing manager for a smartphone company, right? And what you are supposed to do as that marketing manager is to identify and describe 3 market segments for a new product. So what I'm saying here is, for example, there's a new brand of smartphone that your company is introducing, right? What you are supposed to do is to identify and describe 3 market segments for that product, that new product. And then you discuss the marketing strategies you will adopt for your new product. Okay. And then we'll meet in class to discuss the assignment. Like I always say, if there are any questions, feel free to drop them on our page. You can send me a message directly, or we can address the question in class, right? So I wish you the best. Let's meet in class to discuss this further. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you soon.